Guard humiliates Tiffany Trump in club. Donald's response was brutal. Miss Tiffany, are you sure about Club Nebula tonight? Robert, her longtime security advisor, asked as they pulled away from her Manhattan apartment. We could try Lavo or 1OAK. They know us there. Tiffany Trump adjusted her silver Bulgari necklace in the town car's tinted window, watching the city lights blur past. I'm tired of the same places, Robert. Everyone there just wants to take selfies with Donald Trump's daughter. At least at Nebula, I might meet some normal people. Robert caught her eye in the rearview mirror, his concern evident. After 8 years of working for the Trump family, he'd grown protective of their youngest daughter. Normal people can be unpredictable, Miss Tiffany. That's exactly what I want. She smoothed her designer dress, a subtle Valentino piece that cost more than most people's monthly rent, but looked deceptively simple. One night, where I'm just another girl in a club, is that too much to ask? The January wind whipped down the avenue as they approached Chelsea, carrying the first hints of snow. Tiffany checked her phone, scrolling through messages from friends who were already inside Club Nebula. Sarah, her closest friend from Penn Law, had been raving about the place for weeks. OMG, where are you? DJ is incredible. Sarah's latest text flashed across the screen. Just pulling up? Tiffany typed back, adding a dancing emoji. She looked up as Robert parked the car half a block from the club. The line stretched around the corner, people huddled against the cold in their party best. I could take you to the VIP entrance, Robert offered, but Tiffany was already shaking her head. Regular line tonight. I mean it, Robert. No special treatment. She gathered her clutch, checking her reflection one last time. The cold had already brought a natural flush to her cheeks, complementing her subtle makeup. I'll text you when I'm ready to leave. Robert stepped out to open her door, his expression professional but worried. At least let me walk you to the line. I can manage 20 yards, she laughed, stepping carefully onto the sidewalk in her Louboutins. Go get some coffee and warm up. I'll be fine. She joined the line behind a group of young professionals, their conversation drifting back to her on the wind. Something about a startup's latest funding round. Normal people talk. She smiled, already feeling more relaxed despite the cold. Oh my God, is that? A whisper from somewhere behind her. Tiffany kept her eyes forward, practiced at ignoring the recognition game. Sometimes, if she didn't engage, people convinced themselves they were mistaken. Hey! A friendly voice to her left caught her attention. A girl about her age, wearing a vintage leather jacket over a black dress, smiled warmly. I love your shoes. The red soles are everything. Thanks, Tiffany smiled back, grateful for the normal compliment. I love your jacket. Very Kate Moss. I'm Madison, the girl offered. Here alone? Meeting friends inside. I'm Tiffany. Madison's eyes widened slightly at the name, but to her credit, she didn't make the obvious connection. Same. My first time here. The line's kind of intense, huh? Yeah, but I heard it's worth it. Tiffany rubbed her arms against the cold, wishing she'd brought a warmer coat. Her phone buzzed again. Girl, the bottle service here is insane, Sarah's text read. Let me know when you're close to the door. I'll come say hi to security. No, Tiffany typed back firmly. Regular line tonight. I mean it. The line inched forward as the club's base leaked into the street. Conversations around her swirled with the usual New York mix of job complaints, relationship drama, and weekend plans. For a blessed few minutes, she was just another girl in line, chatting with Madison about their favorite downtown spots and commiserating about the cold. So what do you do? Madison asked eventually, the inevitable New York question. Tiffany hesitated. I'm a lawyer. True, but not the whole truth. Corporate law, mostly. The lie felt small and necessary. Very nice, Madison nodded. Must be intense. I'm in PR, so I deal with lawyers all the time. Which firm? Before Tiffany could fabricate an answer, a commotion near the door drew their attention. A guy in an expensive-looking suit was arguing with the security guard. Do you know who I am? His voice carried down the line. Call Jason right now. He knows me. The security guard, an Asian man with a military-style haircut and rigid posture, remained unmoved. Sir, if you're not on the list, you need to wait in line like everyone else. This is bullshit, the guy spat, but he backed away, pulling out his phone to presumably call this Jason person. Guess money can't buy everything, Madison remarked with a smirk. Tiffany felt a small knot form in her stomach as she watched the guard's stern demeanor. She was used to doors opening automatically, to subtle nods from security, to the invisible network of privilege that smoothed her path through life. Tonight, she'd chosen to step outside that network. The cold felt a little sharper. The line moved again, bringing them closer to the entrance. More phones appeared around her, some not so subtly aimed in her direction. The whispers grew more confident. That's definitely her. Should we ask for a picture? Nah. Let her live her life. But my Instagram would literally explode. Madison picked up on the attention. Everything okay? People are kind of staring. Yeah, Tiffany sighed. I get mistaken for someone sometimes. It's nothing. Right. Madison studied her face more carefully now. Oh wow. Oh wow. You're not just Tiffany, you're… Please, Tiffany cut her off softly. Can we just not for like 5 more minutes? Understanding dawned in Madison's eyes, followed by sympathy. Yeah, of course. So anyway, about that Kate Moss jacket. Tiffany felt a rush of gratitude as Madison smoothly redirected the conversation. They were almost to the door now. The bass was louder, the warmth from the entrance teasing them with promises of dancing and overpriced drinks. Her phone buzzed again. Sarah. Security just changed shifts. New guy seems like a hard ass. Want me to come vouch for you? I got this, Tiffany replied, even as another shiver ran through her that had nothing to do with the cold. The security guard, Marcus Chen, though she didn't know his name yet, was checking IDs with methodical precision. Each person got the same stern scrutiny, regardless of their appearance or attitude. In a way, it was refreshing. Next, he called, and Madison stepped forward presenting her ID with a smile. He checked it quickly but thoroughly, handed it back and waved her through. Madison turned back. See you inside? Tiffany nodded, stepping up to the podium. She opened her clutch and pulled out her driver's license, handing it over with the practiced ease of someone used to age checks and security protocols. Marcus Chen took the ID, and in that moment, everything was still normal. Everything was still just a cold night in New York. Just another girl going to just another club. Then he frowned. The expression started small, just a slight downturn at the corners of his mouth, a furrowing of his brow. But it grew, spreading across his face like a storm cloud. Is there a problem? Tiffany asked, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. Marcus held the license up to the light, turning it this way and that. The line behind Tiffany stirred restlessly. Someone coughed. A phone camera clicked. Miss, Marcus said, his tone dripping with skepticism. Do you really expect me to believe this is real? The flutter in Tiffany's chest turned to ice. Of course it's real. Why wouldn't it be? Well, he dragged the word out, loud enough for others to hear. For starters, you're claiming to be Tiffany Trump. He practically sneered the name. And I gotta say, that's a pretty bold move. Phones were definitely out now. The whispers had grown to a steady murmur. Tiffany felt her careful anonymity crumbling like sand between her fingers. I am Tiffany Trump, she said quietly, fighting to keep her voice level. You can verify that easily. Oh, can I? Marcus's voice took on a theatrical quality, playing to his growing audience. And how exactly should I do that? Should I call up Donald Trump himself? Maybe he's on speed dial? Laughter rippled through the crowd. Tiffany's phone buzzed in her clutch. Probably Sarah, sensing something was wrong. She ignored it. Google me, she suggested, her lawyer's mind kicking in, searching for logical solutions. Compare my face to any photo online. Or I can show you my social media accounts, my bar association ID. Right, because no one's ever faked those. Marcus held her ID up higher, like a trophy. You know what I think? I think you bought this off some guy in Queens. Probably paid good money for it too. But here's the thing. I've been doing this job for years. I know every trick. That was a lie. Marcus Chen had been at Club Nebula for exactly 3 months, and his previous security experience consisted of working retail at Best Buy. But Tiffany couldn't know that. Please, she tried again. Just call the manager. Or I can have my friend Sarah come down. She's inside already. She can verify who I am. Oh, you've got a friend inside? Marcus's smile was shark-like now. Let me guess, Taylor Swift? Maybe Beyoncé? Since we're playing pretend and all. More laughter. Someone in line shouted, "Guess being a Trump doesn't help everywhere." Another voice. Finally, some real equality. The phones were everywhere now, recording her humiliation in high definition. Tomorrow, this would be all over social media. Her father would see it, her brothers, the whole world. Listen, she lowered her voice, trying to appeal to him directly, away from the audience he was playing to. I understand you're doing your job. I respect that. But you're making a mistake that could have serious consequences. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. Doubt, perhaps, or a moment of recognition. But then someone else in line called out, "Don't let her threaten you, man! Stand your ground!" The doubt vanished. Marcus straightened up, puffing out his chest. "The only mistake here," he announced loudly, "is thinking you could walk in here with a fake ID and drop names to get your way. We don't play that game at Club Nebula. Back of the line. Or better yet, try again when you're ready to be honest about who you really are." He held out her ID like it was contaminated. Tiffany's hand trembled slightly as she took it, her fingertips burning with humiliation. She could feel the heat in her cheeks, the sting of tears threatening to fall. Not here, she told herself. Not in front of the cameras. "Miss Trump?" A small voice behind her, Madison, still watching from just inside the entrance. "I can tell them you're really—" "Don't bother," Tiffany cut her off, managing a weak smile. "Thank you. But it's fine. I should go." She turned away from the entrance, from Marcus's smug expression and the forest of phone cameras. Her heels clicked against the pavement as she walked away, head high, despite the tears now freely falling. Behind her, she could hear Marcus already calling, "Next," as if nothing had happened, as if he hadn't just provided social media with its next viral moment. Her phone was buzzing continuously now. Sarah's name flashed on the screen, along with messages from Robert, her friends, probably her family soon. The video would be spreading already, racing through the digital world like wildfire. She made it halfway down the block before her hands were shaking too badly to keep walking in heels. Ducking into a doorway, she pulled out her phone to call Robert. As she waited for him to answer, she could still hear the bass from Club Nebula, the sound of people laughing and living their normal lives. One night, she had wanted. One normal night. "Miss Tiffany?" Robert's worried voice came through the phone. "I'm already on my way. Are you okay? What happened?" Her voice cracked. "Just come get me, please." As she waited in that doorway, wiping tears that wouldn't stop falling, Tiffany Trump thought about power and privilege, about assumptions and prejudices, about the weight of a name and the cruelty of strangers. But mostly, she thought about her father and what would happen when he saw the video. Because Donald Trump's response to his daughter's humiliation would shake Club Nebula to its foundations. But that was still to come. For now, there was just a young woman in a designer dress, crying in a doorway, waiting for her car in the cold New York night. The security guard looked at her ID like he'd found something nasty on his shoe. Marcus Chen was new on the job and drunk on his tiny bit of power. He held her ID up to the light and smirked. "Nice try with the fake ID," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Just because you dressed up fancy doesn't mean you can pretend to be Tiffany Trump." Tiffany's stomach dropped. Her face burned hot despite the cold. "But I am Tiffany Trump. Please, just check online. Google me." "Yeah, right." Marcus laughed in her face. "Back of the line, princess. Better yet, try the McDonald's down the street." People started filming. Someone yelled, "Not so special now, are you?" The laughter felt like knives. Tiffany's eyes filled with tears as she stood there, alone and humiliated, while strangers recorded her shame. "Sir, we've got the preliminary numbers from Iowa, and the focus group results are looking promising." Jason Miller droned on, his voice barely registering in Donald Trump's consciousness as he methodically worked his way through a well-done cheeseburger. The campaign war room at Trump Tower hummed with activity. Smartphones buzzed, laptops whirred, and staffers darted between tables covered in polling data and strategy documents. It was meant to be a routine strategy session, as routine as anything got in Trump world. And the messaging about immigration is really resonating with. Jason continued, But Trump held up a hand, cutting him off mid-sentence. "Where's my phone?" he demanded, patting his jacket pockets. "Someone get me my phone." A young aide scrambled forward with the device. "Here, sir. But remember, we were trying to stay focused on the campaign messaging this afternoon." Trump waved him away, squinting at the screen. 3 missed calls from Robert, Tiffany's security detail. 27 text messages from various family members. And a notification that made his blood run cold. Trending: Tiffany Trump humiliated at Nick Club. "Play it," he ordered, his voice dangerously quiet. "Sir?" Jason looked up from his polling data, confused. "The video. Someone play the damn video. Now." The room erupted into motion. Within seconds, the main screen that had been displaying voter demographics now showed the scene outside Club Nebula. Trump watched, his face growing darker with each passing second, as his youngest daughter, his Tiffany, was publicly humiliated. "Do you really expect me to believe this is real?" The security guard's sneering voice filled the room. Trump's fingers tightened around his burger, sending droplets of ketchup splattering onto the mahogany table. Nobody moved to clean it up. Nobody dared move at all. "Oh, you've got a friend inside?" The guard's mocking tone continued. "Let me guess, Taylor Swift? Maybe Beyoncé? Since we're playing pretend and all." The half-eaten burger hit the wall with enough force to leave a greasy stain. Several staffers jumped. Papers scattered. Someone gasped. "Get me everything on Club Nebula." Trump's voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the force of an explosion. "Owners, investors, licenses, everything." "Sir." Susie Thompson, his head of digital operations, stepped forward cautiously. "The video's already at 2 million views, it's spreading fast, and the comments. Show me." "I don't think that's... Show me." Susie swallowed hard and started reading from her tablet. "They're calling it karma, making jokes about privilege. There are memes already. They're taking her tears and..." The sound Trump made was closer to a growl than anything human. "Find me that security guard's name. Now." "Marcus Chen." Another aide supplied quickly. 3 months at Club Nebula. Previous employment at Best Buy. No social media presence that we can find yet, but we're digging. Trump pushed away from the conference table, his chair rolling back with a screech. He began to pace, his face flushed with rage. The room watched him nervously, recognizing the dangerous glint in their boss's eyes. "Sir," Jason tried again. "Maybe we should focus on the campaign right now. We can have the PR team handle this quietly." Trump spun on him. "Quietly? Quietly? That's my daughter they're laughing at. My baby girl. You think I'm going to handle this quietly?" He grabbed his phone, fingers flying across the screen with familiar fury. "Don't." Jason started, but it was too late. "Low class. Club Nebula lets power-hungry guard abuse my beautiful daughter, Tiffany. Time to learn about real security. Sad." The tweet, or Truth Social post, as it were, landed like a bomb in the digital world. Within seconds, notifications began flooding in. "Get me the owner of that club," Trump demanded. "What's his name?" "Jonathan Hayes," an aide supplied. "We're trying to reach him now." "Try harder," Trump bellowed. "And someone get my lawyer on the phone. We're going to own that place by morning." His phone rang. Tiffany's number. Trump's face softened instantly as he answered. "Baby girl. Are you okay?" The room could only hear his side of the conversation, but they watched their boss's expression cycle through concern, rage, and protective determination. "You did nothing wrong, sweetheart. No, you listened to Daddy. That punk isn't going to get away with this. Of course I saw it. Everyone saw it. Don't worry about the comments. We're going to handle this. Yes, I'm handling it personally." As he talked to his daughter, Trump's free hand was already typing another message. "Club Nebula will learn that real security means respecting people, not bullying innocent young women. Management will hear from my lawyers. Disgraceful." "Sir," Susie approached again, her tablet held like a shield. "The club's social media is being flooded. Their Yelp rating has dropped 3 stars in the last hour. Conservative influencers are calling for boycotts." "Good," Trump growled after ending the call with Tiffany. "But it's not enough. Get me." His phone buzzed again. Don Jr. this time. Trump answered with a sharp, "What?" Dad, I've got Eric on the other line. We can have protesters outside that club in an hour. Just say the word. Do it, Trump ordered. But keep it legal. I want pressure, not problems. He ended the call and turned to his silent staff. Cancel everything else today. This is our priority now. But sir, Jason protested weakly. The campaign. The campaign? Trump's eyes blazed. You think I care about polls right now? This isn't politics. This isn't business. This is family. And nobody hurts my family. He strode to the window, looking out over the New York skyline he knew so well. Somewhere out there, his daughter was crying because some minimum-wage security guard wanted to feel powerful for a moment. That power was about to shift. Sir? An aide's nervous voice broke his reverie. We have Jonathan Hayes on the line. The speakerphone crackled to life, filling the war room with Jonathan Hayes' anxious voice. Mr. Trump, let me start by saying how deeply sorry we are about this incident. This is not how Club Nebula treats any of our guests. Let alone save it. Trump cut him off. You let some power-drunk security guard humiliate my daughter, my Tiffany? You think sorry fixes that? Sir, I only just saw the video myself. We're already taking steps to. Steps? Trump's voice rose. What steps? Is that guard still employed? A pause. Too long of a pause. We're reviewing the situation and… Reviewing? Trump slammed his hand on the conference table, making everyone jump. My daughter is trending on social media, crying because your employee decided to play big shot. What's to review? The room was dead silent now. Staffers barely breathing as they watched their boss's face grow redder with each word. Mr. Trump, Hayes tried again, his voice shakier now. We have protocols we need to follow with any employee termination. Protocols? Trump let out a harsh laugh. Let me tell you about protocols, Jonathan. Can I call you Jonathan? Right now, my lawyers are reviewing every license your club has. Health code reports, noise violations, employment records. Did you know you had 3 violations last month alone? Another pause. I wasn't aware. Of course you weren't. Just like you weren't aware that your security guard was going to turn my daughter into a viral joke. But here's what's going to happen now. Trump began pacing again, his voice taking on the same tone he used in boardrooms when he was about to close a deal or crush an opponent. In the next hour, Marcus Chen will be fired. Not suspended, not reviewed, fired. You will issue a public apology to my daughter. Not some corporate PR garbage, but a real apology. And you will implement new security protocols that ensure this never happens to anyone else's daughter. Am I clear so far? Yes, Mr. Trump, but… I'm not finished, Trump continued, his voice rising. Your club is bleeding money right now. Every minute we talk, your ratings drop. Conservative media is picking up the story. My sons have protesters heading your way. How long do you think you can stay open with 0 stars on Yelp and picket lines at your door? The silence, on the other end, was deafening. Mr. Hayes? Trump's smile was audible in his voice. Are you still there? Yes, Hayes responded weakly. What? What exactly do you want from us? What do I want? Trump turned to face his staff, his expression darkening again. I want my daughter to stop crying. I want those social media vultures to choke on their memes. I want every club owner in New York to think twice before they let their employees play games with people's dignity. But most of all, he leaned closer to the speakerphone, his voice dropping to a menacing growl. I want Marcus Chen to understand what real power looks like. Not the fake power of a club bouncer with a chip on his shoulder, but the kind of power that can turn his life inside out with a single tweet. He'll be terminated immediately, Hayes rushed to say. And we'll release an apology within the hour. Make it 30 minutes, Trump replied. And Jonathan? Make it good, because if I'm not satisfied, he let the threat hang in the air. Yes, Mr. Trump, absolutely, Mr. Trump. I'll handle it person. Trump ended the call mid-sentence, turning to his staff. Monitor everything. I want to see that apology before it goes live. And someone get me. His phone buzzed again. Melania this time. Is true? Her accented voice came through clearly. I saw video. How is she? Upset, Trump replied, his tone softening slightly. But we're handling it. Donald. Melania's voice carried a note of warning. Do not make bigger scandal. She is strong girl. She will. Nobody does this to our family. Trump cut her off. Nobody. He ended the call and looked at his digital team. How many views now? 4 million and climbing, Susie reported. But sir, the narrative is starting to shift. Some people are saying your response is excessive, that you're bullying a small business and… Bullying? Trump's face flushed again. They want to see bullying? Fine, draft another post. His fingers flew across his phone screen. Failing Club Nebula about to learn expensive lesson about respect. Remember when clubs in NYC begged for Trump family business? Those days are over. Time to make nightlife great again. Sir, Jason ventured cautiously. Maybe we should focus on damage control rather than escalation. The campaign. The campaign? Trump spun to face him. You think this hurts the campaign? This is exactly what people love about me. I fight back. I protect my family. You think voters in Iowa don't have daughters? You think they don't understand what it means to want to protect your children? He grabbed a fresh burger from the pile on the side table. Someone always made sure there were extras, and took an aggressive bite. By tomorrow morning, every parent in America will be thinking about their own kids. Every young woman who's ever been humiliated by some power tripping, nobody will be on our side. And Club Nebula? He smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. Club Nebula is about to learn why you don't mess with Trump family. Speaking of family, an aide interrupted. Don Jr. is on the line again. The protesters are in position. Trump grabbed his phone, his smile growing wider as he saw the first images coming in from outside Club Nebula. The crowd was growing, signs appearing with hastily written slogans. Respect women. End bouncer bullying. Make nightlife safe again. His phone buzzed with another message from Tiffany. Daddy, please don't make this bigger than it is. I just want it to go away. Trump's expression softened as he typed back. Too late, sweetheart. Nobody hurts my little girl. Let Daddy handle this. Looking up at his staff, he straightened his tie and squared his shoulders. Get me the campaign videographer. If Club Nebula wants to make viral videos, let's show them how it's done. We're going to turn this into a message about respect, about family values, about standing up to bullies. And Marcus Chen? Someone asked. Trump's expression hardened again. Oh, we're not done with Mr. Chen, not by a long shot. By the time we're finished, he'll wish he'd never heard the name Trump. The war room burst into renewed activity, phones buzzing, keyboards clicking, staffers rushing to execute their boss's orders. Outside, the New York sky was darkening, but the storm brewing around Club Nebula was just beginning. And somewhere in that city, a security guard named Marcus Chen was about to learn a very expensive lesson about the true nature of power, privilege, and the consequences of humiliating the wrong person's daughter. Marcus Chen's alarm went off at 6:30 a.m., just like any other morning. He reached for his phone, squinting at the screen through sleepy eyes. Then he sat bolt upright. 736 notifications. What the… he muttered, thumbing through his apps. His Instagram, which usually got maybe 3 likes per post, had exploded. His Facebook was flooded. Even his LinkedIn was blowing up. Then he saw the messages. Hope you feel big now, tough guy. Way to bully an innocent girl. You're finished in this city. His hands started shaking as he pulled up the video. There he was, in crystal clear HD, smirking as he humiliated Tiffany Trump. The view count was in the millions. His phone rang. His mother. Ma, I can explain. Marcus James Chen. His mother's voice was thick with tears. What did you do? Mrs. Liu from down the street just called me. She saw you on the news. My own son treating a young woman like that. Ma, I was just doing my job. I thought the ID was fake. Job? What job? You think your father and I came to this country so you could bully people? We raised you better than this. A text message popped up from his girlfriend Jenny. We need to talk. Then another from his best friend. Dude, you're trending on Twitter. Not in a good way. Ma, I gotta go, he said quickly. I'll call you back. He called Jenny first. She answered on the first ring. I can't be associated with this, she said without preamble. My firm does business with Trump properties. Do you have any idea what this could do to my career? Jenny, wait. No. You wait. 3 months ago you were fixing computers at Best Buy. Now you're viral for all the wrong reasons. I can't. Marcus. I'm sorry. The line went dead. Marcus sat on the edge of his bed, head spinning. This couldn't be happening. It was just another night at work. Just another fake ID check. His phone buzzed again. Jonathan Hayes. Get to the club. Now. Marcus threw on clothes and rushed out, but not before seeing the protesters already gathering outside his apartment building. Someone had leaked his address overnight. There he is. Hey, tough guy. Pick on someone your own size. Woman hater. He ducked into a taxi, heart pounding. Club Nebula, fast. The driver glanced in the rearview mirror. Hey, aren't you the guy from? Just drive. At the club, things were worse, much worse. A crowd had gathered despite the early hour, holding signs and chanting. News vans lined the street. Marcus had to slip in through the service entrance. Inside, the usually immaculate club looked like a war zone. Staff members huddled in corners, whispering and shooting him dirty looks. Jonathan Hayes stood in his office, staring out the window at the growing crowd below. Jonathan. Shut up. Hayes didn't turn around. Just shut up. Marcus fell silent, watching his boss's reflection in the window. Hayes looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Do you know what happened last night, after you went home? Hayes asked quietly. I saw the video went viral. Viral? Now Hayes did turn, his face twisted with fury. Viral? Our Yelp rating dropped to 1 star. 1. Every conservative influencer in the country is calling for boycotts. We've had 3 corporate clients cancel their contracts this morning. The health department suddenly wants to do a routine inspection. The liquor board is reviewing our license. He picked up a stack of papers from his desk and threw them at Marcus. Death threats. Hundreds of them. My wife took the kids to her mother's because someone posted our home address online. And the Trump Organization's lawyers? They're not just suing the club. They're suing you personally. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. Me? But I was just. Just what? Hayes shouted. Just playing tough guy? Just trying to show off for the crowd? Well, congratulations, you got your audience. The whole fucking world is watching now. His phone rang. Again. Hayes glanced at it, and his face went even paler. Yes, Mr. Trump. No, sir, he's here right now. Yes, sir, I understand completely. Marcus watched as his boss seemed to shrink with each word from the phone. You're fired, Hayes said after hanging up, his voice flat. Obviously, clear out your locker, and get out. But, get out, Hayes roared, finally losing all composure. You're done in security, you're done in nightlife. You'll be lucky to get a job as a mall cop after this. Marcus stumbled backward, nearly tripping over his own feet. As he turned to leave, Hayes called after him. Chen, the Trumps aren't just powerful, they're vindictive. And you didn't just embarrass them, you humiliated Trump's youngest daughter, on video, in front of millions. Marcus paused at the door. What? What should I do? Hayes laughed, but there was no humor in it. Pray, move to another city, change your name. Because this is just the beginning. In the locker room, Marcus found his belongings already packed in a box. His security badge had been deactivated. As he picked up the box, his phone buzzed with another message. From Best Buy. Given recent events, we feel it necessary to clarify that Mr. Chen's employment with us ended 3 months ago. We do not condone. He hadn't even known they still had his number. Outside, the crowd had grown. Someone spotted him trying to slip out the back. There he is. How does it feel to be powerless now? Karma's a bitch, isn't it? Marcus pulled his jacket hood up and ran, the box of his belongings clutched to his chest. Phones followed his retreat, capturing more footage for social media. His humiliation was just as public as Tiffany's had been, but nobody was defending him. Back in his apartment, he found an eviction notice on his door. Due to the volume of complaints and security concerns. His phone rang again. Unknown number. Mr. Chen? A professional-sounding voice. This is David Morton from TMZ. We'd like to get your side of the story. He hung up and collapsed onto his couch, head in his hands. His phone kept buzzing with more threats, more hate, more media requests. Another text from his mother. Your father is very disappointed. So am I. Marcus Chen stared at his reflection in the black television screen. Just 12 hours ago, he'd been somebody. A respected security professional at one of New York's hottest clubs. Now he was a viral villain. A cautionary tale. A target of Trump's wrath. His phone buzzed one more time. A text from Jonathan Hayes. Trump's team is organizing a press conference. They want you to publicly apologize. Think carefully about your answer. It might be your only way out of this nightmare. Marcus looked around his apartment, at the life he'd built that was now crumbling around him. Through his window, he could still hear the protesters below. One decision, one moment of power gone to his head. That's all it had taken to destroy everything. The question was, what would it take to fix it? The cameras were rolling. Marcus stood next to Tiffany Trump, sweating under the lights. His hands trembled as he held his written apology. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice cracking. "I was wrong. I was cruel. Miss Trump didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves to be humiliated like that." Tiffany looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something she didn't expect. A broken man who'd learned his lesson the hard way. She wasn't happy about what happened, but she didn't want his life destroyed either. Then Donald Trump stepped up to the microphone. The room went silent. Everyone expected him to rip Marcus apart. Instead, Trump put his arm around his daughter. "Tiffany is tough. She's a Trump, but she's also my little girl. When someone hurts her, they deal with me." He paused, letting the threat hang in the air. "But today, we're showing mercy. Club Nebula fired the guard. They're changing their security, and my daughter showed more class through this whole thing than any of her critics." The room erupted in applause. Tiffany hugged her father, cameras flashing everywhere. She'd been humiliated, but she'd come out stronger. And everyone watching knew one thing for sure. Nobody would ever dare treat her that way again.